In Pokémon Horizons, episode 127, the writers genuinely crossed a line with one character in particular. What should have been just a regular training episode turned into a moment that genuinely stunned and even enraged part of the community. It left everyone with the same question: did she really just do that? So let's break down exactly what happened in this episode and why it hit so hard in this review video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and now let's dive into it. The episode began with the GOAT, the one and only Ann, reuniting with our heroes after hearing about them being framed and wanting to rejoin their side, and as always her bond with Liko is the peak of Pokémon Horizons. Iono then arrives and takes them all to the Pokémon League for intensive training, and look at this squad man, they're everything. The training battles we end up with are Liko vs Ann, Roy vs Nemona, Ult vs Hassel, and Dot vs Penny. Story-wise all of these make sense, but I personally think some more fresh matchups could have been fun. Oh yeah, and just like in the 6 Heroes battle episode, this episode was jumping back and forth every 5 seconds between different battles, so once again I'll split the review into the 4 battles separately. And we're kicking things off with Liko vs Ann. Before the battle, Ann makes it clear that she wants both of them to be completely serious and to put everything they have into this battle. Ann needs to know for certain that she's good enough to not be a hindrance to them. And dude, taking a character who's always so lighthearted and goofy and making them suddenly have a moment of genuine seriousness, that hits incredibly hard. It really drilled in the stakes of everything, you know? Great job from the writers there. The battle begins with the Pokemon trading blows before Armarouge traps Samurott in Fire Spin, only for Samurott's Drill Run to break him free and hit hard. And that's when Liko immediately terastallizes. And that should tell you everything, dude. She's not holding back at all. Armarouge being a Fire Terror type is interesting since Roy's Skeledirge already covers the Fire Terror type, but I actually kinda think that ties into a theory I've had for a while. I think that the new Pokemon our heroes caught after the time skip, so Armarouge, Lucario, Goldengo, Dragonite, I don't think they're intended to be part of the 18 Pokemon terastallizing to power up Pogogo in the final fight. I think these newcomers are meant to be the ones protecting the Pokemon terastallizing. Basically, they'll be the bodyguards protecting the others from the explorers while they channel their Terra energy into Pogogo. That makes a lot of sense to me. So Ann then terastallizes her Samurott into a ground type, and listen, if Gouging Fire being Rock Terror was plot convenient a few weeks ago, then this here is next level convenient. The one Terra type they don't have being covered by Samurott? That's funny, man. The battle then escalates fast with Armor Cannon versus Hydro Pump, some close quarter clashing. I had to record that line like 10 times, dude. That's a tongue twister for sure. And then Armarouge's Clear Smog creates an opening for Armor Cannon, hitting Samurott, but Samurott channels its ground Terra-type energy into a Drill Run, punching straight through and knocking down Armarouge. Both Pokemon go down at the same time and it's a draw. So now, drawing with Liko, Ann feels strong enough to join the Terra team. Let's go! I love that result, man. Liko and Ann both starting their journeys together at the very beginning, and now ending up equals at the very end. That's so perfect that I honestly don't need them to have another rematch in the future. Plus the haters can't even accuse Liko of being weak over this, because she somehow managed to tie a fire Pokemon against a water Pokemon with a ground Terra type. She did insanely good achieving that. Now, Roy vs Nemona. I'm gonna be real, this was probably the battle I was the least excited for. We've had so many Roy vs Nemona matches already. Maybe it wouldn't have been so bad if it was like Kilowattrel vs Decidueye, but another Lucario vs Pawmot rematch? That just feels repetitive, dude. But hey, at least seeing Cap perched on Larry's head to referee cheered me up. That was so funny. So the battle itself starts exactly how you'd expect. The two of them are trading back and forth punches over and over and over, and then Pawmot tries to charge up a focus punch, but Lucario interrupts it and hits it back. Rinse and repeat. Roy then Mega Evolves Lucario while Nemona terastallizes Pawmot. And man, finally Lucario remembers he's the Yellow Blast. He does that cool Aura Dodge strategy, only for us to immediately return to punching spams again. Oh brother. Pawmot then charges up another focus punch while dodging Lucario, and then hits him with it, knocking him out. Nemona is the winner. Yeah, this battle didn't really work for me at all, dude. Don't get me wrong, I'm completely fine with Nemona winning. I love that she's constantly growing and that her and Roy are constantly overcoming each other. That feels right and in character for their rivalry, you know? But the issue is, the Lucario vs Pawmot battles are just so stale by now, dude. Not being funny, punch and spam exchanges get a bit disappointing after the 512th time we've seen it. So afterwards is Ult vs Hassel, a dragon on dragon pseudo-legendary situation. I'm not kidding when I say most of this battle was genuinely Baxcalibur protecting against Dragonite's attacks over and over and over, and then in return, Dragonite dodging all of Baxcalibur's ice attacks over and over and over. Like, man, you wouldn't have thought this was a fight between two big bulky pseudo-legendaries with the amount of dodging going on. There is a cool Hyper Beam and Blizzard Beam clash, but unfortunately most of the battle felt like Ult was just mashing commands. Like how I played Pokemon as a kid, just spamming A. He felt like he had no real strategy or synergy with Dragonite, and that's a bit of a weird narrative decision. It kinda feels like character regression for Ult, because he's already overcame these issues several times in the past. But then the twist is revealed. Hassel was completely okay with Dragonite dodging all of his attacks for the whole battle, because all those icy moves were slowly building up in the air and on the battlefield, turning it into an ice trap. Dragonite is caught off guard, and that allows Baxcalibur to freeze him with Blizzard, and then he charges up a powerful Glaive Rush, smashing into the frozen Dragonite and defeating it. Dude, Hassel's strat here to use Ult's evasiveness against him was so cool here, but like I said, I'm not really a fan of how Ult was written in this battle, especially after all his development. Interestingly though, Hassel compliments Ult and says that the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, implying Ult is strong like his father, who he got Dragonite from. And for a split second I actually thought they were revealing Hassel being Ult's dad. But no, I think they're just teasing that Hassel knows more about Ult and his dad than we realise. Maybe as dragon trainers they knew each other or something. Either way, I'm so glad that the Ult's dad story thread is continuing. Finally, Dot versus Penny. And this is the one everyone's talking about. It'll shock you, trust me. Quaxwell's air cutters are dodged by Vaporeon's Trailblaze, hitting the duck hard super effectively, and then Quaxwell's Step and Dance strat is shut down by Vaporeon trapping him in a whirlpool. Luckily, Dot pulls an absolute Ash Ketchum classic, commanding Quaxwell to climb out of the whirlpool from the inside. That takes Penny by surprise and hits Vaporeon real direct with Liquidation. Except... uh-oh, it does nothing. Because Vaporeon is revealed to have the Water Absorb ability. The Liquidation heals it and allows it to strike hard with Trailblaze. So Dot switches gears, spamming all of her non-water type moves and actually getting some hits in. But Penny? Dude! Penny locks her eyes on Dot's other Pokemon watching the battle and cheering him on, and through that she comes up with the most insane, unfathomable strategy of all time. First, she lures Quaxwell to one side of the battlefield with muddy waters and whirlpools, kinda confusing Dot, and then, I can't believe I'm saying this, Penny points at Dot's other Pokemon who are spectating and not battling, and she commands Vaporeon to attack Dot's other Pokemon. Oh my god. Everyone is absolutely horrified as Vaporeon unleashes a muddy water directly towards Goldengo and Tinkaton, Dot's two innocent Pokemon who are completely caught off guard while they're just cheering for their big brother Quaxwell on the sidelines. I can't believe it, dude. So Quaxwell, being the big brother protector that he is, he desperately launches towards them, shocked and confused, but just trying to save them. He takes the full impact of the attack, and that allows Vaporeon to hit him directly with Trailblaze, knocking him out. I genuinely cannot believe what I just witnessed. Penny just attacked Pokemon who weren't even a part of the battle just to get the victory. That's absolutely monstrous, dude. It goes against all rules of Pokemon battles. But not only that, she did it to her best friend, Dot. There are no words. It's given similar vibes to when the possessed Ash got his Sceptile to take the referee hostage as a body shield in his battle against Brandon. It's horrendous and truly defies the meaning of being a Pokemon trainer. And Dot snaps, yelling at Penny, telling her that that was against the rules and just terrible in general. And first of all, I absolutely love to see Dot standing up for herself and her Pokemon here, but then Penny just replies with one sentence. Sorry, but this is exactly what the Explorers will do. Dude, mic drop. Penny is 100% right. The Explorers are criminals after all. They don't fight fair, they cheat, they manipulate, they cross ethical lines without consideration, without hesitation. They've proven that time and time again. If our heroes want to truly be prepared to win against the Explorers, then they need to be prepared and ready for tactics this dirty, for stuff this cruel that breaks the rules. So Penny acted this way to help Dot realize the truth of what they'll be up against, to help her overcome it. And when I say that fans were shocked and horrified by all of this, I'm really not kidding, dude. And even after Penny's explanation, a lot of fans are still angry at Penny. They're criticizing her for what she did. But personally, I think she's a genius for doing this, man. After all, the battles in this episode aren't like official, competitive battles where things are on the line. These are training battles. Training for the fight against the Explorers in Laqua. Penny cheating here is to benefit our heroes in the battle ahead. She didn't do it so that she can one-up Dot or beat Dot or claim that she's strong stronger than her. She did it for the right reasons, man. This was a brilliant twist, and it feels so fitting for a scheming, somewhat secretly dark character like Penny to pull off. It left the entire fanbase as gobsmacked as it left Dot, and that is exactly why it worked. And upon hearing all of this, Dot realizes that Penny is right, but unfortunately, Dot takes the complete wrong lesson from it. Rather than Dot thinking, yeah, actually, I need to be ready for whatever the explorers pull, Dot instead turns it inward. She begins doubting herself. She questions whether she's just too naive for not seeing that coming, for not knowing that this is what they have to be ready for. She questions whether she's good enough, whether she's letting everyone down, whether she's just relying on Quaxwell in every battle rather than pulling her own weight as the trainer. And wow, Dot, you really did misunderstand what Penny was trying to achieve here. Penny was not trying to tear you down or make you doubt yourself. She was trying to build you up for the worst case scenario in Lacqua, and hearing Dot doubt herself like this really hurts. But clearly Dot allows this to take over her mind, because later on she tells Liko, Roy and Ult that she's stepping down as one of the 18 Terra-type trainers. She's made the decision that she's not strong enough to be on the front lines with them, that she thinks they'll have a better chance of winning if she just plays as the support instead. Our heroes are obviously shocked and heartbroken and confused, and that's where the episode ended. Dude, we have to talk about all of this right now. That final sequence of events was the most interesting and shocking way to end an episode ever. I know a lot of fans didn't really like it because Penny felt cruel and Dot dropping out now after everything feels so sudden, but for me it worked insanely well. I think it's incredibly mature storytelling and character writing for Penny to pull such a crazy stunt with good intentions, but for Dot to take the wrong lesson from it and to begin to doubt herself as a result. After all, what Penny did walk a very fine line, and Dot has always had trouble with self-confidence, so her best friend blindsiding her in that way, of course that could lead to Dot reverting back to thinking she herself is the issue here. That's really fascinating in terms of character writing and bonds. We've never seen the anime try something like this before, so it's unique. Both Penny and Dot had good intentions, but Dot just couldn't see the forest for the trees, just like Ash and Greninja. But right now I'm just so happy to get some completely unexpected deep development for her character. I'm so glad that Horizons gave us this episode to really focus on everyone's training, seeing all of our heroes and their rivals battling and interacting. I loved that, man. Unfortunately, most of the battles were just kind of alright at best. I think the issue was they had such short screen time from cramming 4 battles into one episode that none of them really had enough time to add that special something to elevate them to another level. And I know a lot of folks are disappointed that none of our heroes won, but we've got to look on the bright side here. All of our heroes are losing almost guarantees that we'll get proper rematches between them and their rivals at the end of the series. Probably in a big tournament arc, maybe as part of an epilogue like I theorized in my new video the other day. There's no way we'll end Horizons without any of our heroes getting the big win over their main rivals. And plus, the twist reveals of Ult and Hassel and Dot and Penny, that made me love this episode regardless. So be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review video, and let me know your thoughts on the episode below. Thank you so much to all of my incredible channel members on screen right now. That includes Jay, Jascadia, Toten, Not Mini, Fizz, Shareborn, Hope, Finny, Shiny. You guys are the best, I appreciate you. And yeah, on that note, thank you all so much for watching and best wishes until we meet again!